Mabuhay Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Lay on the Sea. Guess we're on tonight. Welcome to this live stream. It is Monday night, the 3rd of February, 2020, and hopefully some of you will be here tonight. We can talk about telling others you're dating a Filipina. Telling others you're dating a Filipina. Or it could be the other way around. If you're a Filipina and you decided to make contact with a foreigner, how do you go about breaking the news to your friends and family? What are your reactions what are your expectations for them, how they're going to respond if you're a Westerner and you're dating a Filipina? You've made contact with her. Do you tell your family, your friends, your coworkers right away? Do you wait and see what happens first in case it doesn't work out? Do you just not tell them anything at all because you just don't want them to be criticizing you for if it doesn't work out, or you don't want to hear all kinds of stereotypes? So that's kind of what I wanted to just throw out there today as far as a topic, just to get things going on this live stream. Telling others you're dating a Filipina, or the other way around. How do you go about breaking this news to your friends, your parents, siblings, coworkers? Do you do it right away, or maybe you wait a while? And I'll try to remember how I handled this. Our situation was different than most because it got going so quickly, and it culminated in marriage so quickly too. So before we get too far into this, again, just this disclaimer: we can always talk about anything tonight. Love Beyond the Sea is a YouTube channel to help foreigners with Filipinas, because I married a Filipina on May 10th of 2015 after being single for a very long time. Excuse me, I'll probably be coughing a lot. It seems like whenever I get a cough, it lasts for a very long time. The last one was 14 months, even with going to see the doctor, which I will do this Thursday. So anyway, I was single for a very long time, and I was able to connect with a Filipina online. It was Christian Filipina online dating site. I had been using some, USA dating sites, Match.com, Plenty of Fish was the last one, eHarmony, and Christian Mingle. Those were the four. Two of them I used a couple times. Very disappointed, got nowhere. I joined Christian Filipina, and 18 days after I met my wife, which was on the 5th day of my membership, we got engaged online, and I bought a ring, and then I went down there and we got married really, really quick. Took only 54 days. Michael and Heidi is here tonight. Thank you, Michael. What did my mother think about you going to the Philippines? We'll jump right in here. Before I do, I always want to remember to say, please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea. And we reached a milestone of passing 50,000 views, which is something I'm very happy about. I think we started this channel around Valentine's Day of 2018, so it's roughly 2 years. And I was hoping and thought that it would be further along than it was. Thanks for the thumbs up, and we'll keep plugging away here. We just got back to the Philippines for 3 weeks, my 4th time there, and about out of videos to show from our Tokyo tour and from the Philippines. So that means I'll be getting back into the different topics that I'll be doing uploads on. So we'll be getting back to normal. I was doing really well while there. The views were like doubling, the subscriptions were going up, watch minutes were going through the roof, high enough to get monetized. Um, except, now it's way, way down since I've come back. So, I figured it would probably go up when in the Philippines. I was surprised it went down so much and so quickly when I got back. But, you just have to roll up your sleeves, work as hard as you can, and try to get your point across on your channel, which is for me to encourage men who are alone to consider overseas dating. And I'll tell you how it's gone for me with a Filipina wife, and just go in depth. So it's not really about us, because I don't think anybody cares or necessarily should. But I want to share different experiences so I can help encourage other men to go out and look for a wife from the Philippines. And it could be any other country. Now, Michael asks, what did my mother think about going to the Philippines? Well, interesting that you asked that, Michael, because I remember her saying that when she knew I was going there, but it didn't quite register that I was going out there to marry Aiza. I'd never been to the Philippines. I had never met Aiza, and I was going to arrive in the Philippines on something like, when was it? I think the 25th of April, 2015. I had my meeting in Manila, get this paperwork. And I told my mom, I've got an appointment at the embassy. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to meet Aiza. I'm going to give her the ring. I'm sure I had the ring by then, and excuse me, showed it to her and said, we're going to get married. And I don't know if we knew the exact date, because it did take a few days longer, and we're waiting for enough people to show up and travel and go to the wedding. And so finally it ended up being May 10th, but very sure I told my mother I was going out there to meet and marry this woman from the Philippines. And I think by then she had probably had Skyped with Aiza. Pretty sure about that. Now, this was over 4.5 years ago. So, but Hank Hilliam is here. Did the troll army raid you or something? Well, if they try to raid me today, Michael and Heidi there, Michael has a wrench, so he will quickly dispose of anybody that appears to be up to no good here. But oh, you've seen a lot of dislikes. Um, if you're talking about right now, Hank, presently, I can only see on my computer, I can only see the thumbs up. That's why I think the last time I did a live stream, I on my phone, or maybe when I checked the computer, but not right here looking at the live screen, I was able to see thumbs down. But at the time, when I'm doing this now, I can't see that. So let's see on my phone what it says here. If it tells me. It looks just like the same thing here I'm looking at on the screen. So I appreciate the thumbs up. Appreciate everybody here. We're going to do a live stream, talk about anything you want. But generally, we can also discuss telling others about dating a Filipina. How did you go about that? Were you concerned about that? Did you kind of keep it hush hush for a while? But yeah, there's been some dislikes, Hank. Not a lot. You'd never know. I really only get like one or two a video. Now, there was a live stream, or maybe it was an upload. Thanks for the thumbs up. That I did see 3 or 4. You just never know. You never know. It could be maybe they didn't like. They thought that the upload was going to be about something that that they didn't get what they were expecting, or maybe they thought I misled them, or maybe they thought it was boring or inaccurate. Who really knows? I mean, you never really know when somebody gives you a thumb down, if it's just a troll thumbs down, or unless they leave a comment, you just never know. Thumbs up or thumbs down, people are still watching, Michael says. And And that is true. And I don't get a lot of thumbs down. I don't think I'm that controversial or anything like that. I try to be pretty straightforward. Hi, hon. Um, so Michael asked me, what did mom think about you going to the Philippines? And I think she was just thinking at first, Michael, well, that's surprising. Bob's hardly ever left, Nebraska, and here he is going to the Philippines to meet this woman. But I went there to marry Aiza, and that's what I did, and I think it caught her by surprise. I mean, when you're alone a long time, and then you're telling somebody, well, I'm going out there to get married. Probably people at work felt the same way. They just from what I've gathered, and that was over 4.5 years ago, that they didn't think I was serious. Somebody said, well, they thought you were just joking. Um, as far as they knew, I wasn't going to the Philippines. I was just taking a vacation. But I said, no, I'm going to the Philippines to get married. And I could understand people being skeptical about that and just thinking, um, yeah, right, that's just Bob's attempt at humor or something like that. And sure, I mean, and look, I mean, I'm pretty open when new things happen in my life, and this happened very quickly. And so they probably thought it wasn't real. Then somebody at work started taking, or not taking, but I was sending pictures from the wedding to a coworker, and he was putting them up on in the area, the work area. And I don't know, maybe some people then still thought I was just faking it. Um, it happened quickly, overnight sensation. But I had been preparing for this for a long time, even though I was alone, spinning my wheels, getting nowhere. Um, I just had an opportunity, and I ran with it. I really didn't realize it was that quick. When I proposed on day 18, I really thought it was more like a few months, but kind of lost track of time there. And we were communicating about 4 hours a day, so they knew it was real. Eventually, I only heard of you know maybe some people were unhappy, but what were they unhappy about? That's all I heard. Were they speculating here? Were they thinking I was very rash and went out and did a stupid thing? Were they thinking, well, that fool's just going to get taken advantage of? I mean, those are things people have a right to think, and it's happened before. But I also can't live my life based on what other people are saying or what's happened before. And I appreciate the thumbs up. I really do. I have to make my own decisions just like you. And I didn't see any reason not to propose to her. I was 53 years old. I wasn't, 23. So I knew what I wanted. And I knew, I believed how I could minimize the risk. I mean, I felt like I went about it the right way. I didn't see any red flags. I saw a lot of positive signs. And so even though I wasn't looking to get engaged in less than 3 weeks, I was looking to get married. I wasn't looking for a girlfriend. Never really was looking for a girlfriend. I had some guy tell me, Bob, don't pray for a girlfriend. Pray for a wife. That's what you really need. That's what you really want. And so that's what I did. I just looked for somebody to marry, and it turned out being Aiza. And May 10th of this year, 2020, we will celebrate 5 years of marriage, and it's just hardly seems possible. So that was my story. Our family is very small. I know if my sister were alive at that time, she would have been thrilled, and she would have said, I told you were going to marry a Filipina, because before she died, she said, I think you're going to marry a Filipina, because she always knew I liked Filipinas. I didn't talk about it all the time, but she just remembered that. And even though I scolded her for that, thinking this is the most outrageous thing I've ever heard in my life, because I never even considered it. As it turns out, I married a Filipina, and I am very happy about that. And as far as my mother, Isa spent, I think, most of the day on Sunday watching TV with her. Excuse me. So, and they get along fine. My wife has helped her run some errands, or helped her around the house. They get along fine. Filipinas are very respectful of family, and I do believe that your family will be her family, your friends will be her friends. So Michael, it went well. My mother, it was fine. It was very quick, but again, I was an older guy. I wasn't. I'd like to think I had some common sense, even though it might not have seemed like it, because it was very fast. And no, I did not have a lot of experience up until that point. It wasn't for lack of effort, it wasn't for lack of trying. It just wasn't happening. And as far as I know, it wasn't going to happen. So I met her, and I told the other uh, 4 or 5 women that I had done a webcam with that I was going to just focus on Aiza. And by the way, in the Philippines, that's generally the way the Filipina would prefer it. Just you and her, um, not you kind of having several irons in the fire. She won't appreciate that in all likelihood. Aiza wanted somebody to focus on her. And I thought, well, why not? I can't make up my mind. I had a list of women, and somewhere I showed last time, I think on a live stream, one of these yellow pads of paper I keep around to write notes on. I saw in the back had the list of my finalists, and of course Isa's name was on there too. Those are the women that I had done webcams with after narrowing down my search. So now I think I can look back 5 years later and see that um, people should see that everything is fine. I'm very proud of my wife. I think when they see her and work with her or talk to her or see us together, they realize I married a quality woman from another country, and the different nationality or the age gap, it really hasn't made any difference. I want them to see I care about her very, very much, and you know we're we're fine. We're fine, and that's all you can do. If people are going to be naysayers, all you can do is go out and prove them wrong, um, not by being insensitive and or not insensitive, but being sensitive to what they say and reacting negatively. Just let them think what they think, and go out and have a good relationship. And hopefully, all they can do is tip their hat. But a lot of the trolls here, though, will say, "Aha! You only been married 5 years, not even 5 years. Just wait till 10 years, then she'll leave you, or wait till 15 years, you won't be together." And I suppose that can happen, but I don't think it will. It's my responsibility to make sure that it doesn't. And the things that I do here in my relationship, I do want to share in the videos, because this is to help a foreigner with a Filipina. So, you can ask me anything here on these live streams. Obviously, in uploads, I get to control, what is said, because it's just me. But on the live streams, it's anything is fair game pretty much. If I think it's inappropriate, I'll let you know. But otherwise, I want to help here, and do more than just say hi. I'd like to help answer people's questions on these live streams. Parabiology 101 is here tonight, and Hank is here, and as usual, you guys. I appreciate you being here tonight. So fire away. Now, I know Michael and Heidi and parabiology, you guys are at different stages with relationships with Filipinas and Hank. I don't know. I didn't know until last week how old you were, but we'll just be open tonight. Share your experiences with me about when you're first talking to a Filipina. You're probably aware of stereotypes. You're probably aware of what people can say. And so, Michael and Heidi and Parabiology 101, how did you go about this? And I appreciate the four thumbs up. Um, did you kind of play it low key at first and not tell anybody? Were you really exuberant and told everybody you knew? Did you wait until you kind of felt like you had something going first and then said, hey, I've been uh, talking online to this woman from the Philippines, for the last, 2 months or 6 months or something, just to make sure you can tell them everything is well, everything's going okay. Or did you just come right out and say right away, well, if they don't like it, they don't like it. But I'm looking for a woman overseas, and I told my parents, I told my siblings, um, this is or children. Some people have children, and they got to tell them about it. How do you feel about that? What would you advise somebody else? Just we can talk about that tonight. I don't really have any strong feelings on this. I guess if you are going to tell people, you know what, I'm going to enter the foray of international dating. Well, just have some thick skin and uh, and expect some criticism and just try to understand. They've heard stories before, and they're just probably looking out for you. Um, but there's one thing for somebody to tell you, well, just be careful. Just watch out for this. And it's another thing for somebody to say, you're crazy, you're foolish, you're stupid, you shouldn't be doing this. Why can't you find somebody from your own country? Hank, your messages are getting through. You mentioned did the troll army raid you or something? I haven't. I can't see any thumbs down at the moment, Hank. All I can see is the four thumbs up and six people online. That's all I can see right now. But you are here, Abdi Hassan. Hello there. Good to have you with me here tonight. And but Hank, yeah, we Michael says we see you. Let me go up and see. You mentioned you saw a lot of dislikes, and I don't see any of them. And that's the only comment, really, other than hi there, that I see, is Hank. So go ahead and, yeah, Michael's a moderator, and he didn't see anything. Go ahead and just re ask the question, if you will. That would be fine. Yeah, my mother's happy. You know, I mean, what can she say? It's not like I'm wet behind the ears, I mean, and I was just trying to explore other options, and it happened maybe too quickly for her um, to have reservations because I probably just told her I was chatting with somebody. Might have had her meet Aiza before I went there. I'm sure I would have, just out of respect to my mother. I would have talked to her before, had Aiza talk to her before I actually went there to marry her, just to get her opinions or her thoughts on Aiza. Hank says, I asked when you met your lady online, okay, what she was doing for a living. And I did not see that question, Hank. So she was a teacher, and I think the school year was coming to an end soon. So that was also allowing us to spend more time talking, if I remember correctly. But she went to college. And she showed me where she went to college in the Philippines, and she was a teacher. And I was working, I was working like 6 days a week, And but I made sure we still spent about 4 hours a day in the morning at breakfast, and then before she went to bed in her evening, and then the roles were reversed. Before I went to bed, then she was getting up. And when you're focusing on one woman, you can do that. You can really get a lot done, just the two of you, and you can learn about each other faster if it's just the two of you um, talking together. And what was her reason for wanting to meet a foreigner? Um, I don't know, Hank, that I actually ever specifically asked her about that. Um, I think I was the only, she had just signed up. I met her on my fifth day on Christian Filipina, and that was her first day. So, but once I met her, it was just like trying to set up a time to talk, and then doing that, and we're chatting, and then setting up a Skype, and then doing that, and it was just a lot of Skyping after that. But I don't know. Have to ask her that question because I don't recall that I asked her directly. Um, I just knew that she was on the dating site because she was looking for a husband. Now, I mentioned earlier when I started this um, about United States dating sites. I just think there's a lot of women there that are there for the attention and aren't really serious about meeting somebody. I don't think that's the way it is on these international dating sites, at least with the Philippines. I think my experience was on Christian Filipina. They were there to get married. If somebody would initiate a conversation and give them a lot of time, then they would reciprocate, and see how things went. So that's just what we did. Now I can imagine she wanted to meet a foreigner for the same usual reasons, wanting to find a man who was, serious about a relationship before things got, too late in her life, and just increasing her opportunities to marry somebody that give her a better living. Now, I have to make sure I tell you that a better living or a better life, as far as material things, does not necessarily mean a better marriage or a better life overall. I don't think the Filipina is wanting to marry anybody with white skin or anybody from another country, um, because she's going to have to live with that guy, and she wants a nice person, so she'll want to get to know his philosophy of relationships and life and marriage. And if she's religious, she'll want to know, excuse me, what he believes. And you'll spend a certain amount of time talking about that. But I assume she had, you know had her chances to marry locals and maybe foreigners. Maybe she'd been on other dating sites. I'm not sure. This one she had just signed up. In fact, her profile wasn't even up. All I saw was a picture. And then I liked her picture, so I winked at her and didn't think much more about it until she responded back. And then the profile got populated, and I read the profile and said, "Okay, let's get together." I see I have a Skype notification for some business, but I cannot do that because we are here doing a live stream tonight. So I will close that out and get back to them later. Um, got some more comments. I have to delete these notifications that come in there. So where were we? So probably the same reasons, Hank, for any meet a foreigner. Better, living as far as money, but also she's going to have to make sure this guy is going to be good to her as well. Um, let's see. Let's go back up here. Hank says, "Were you scared that when you met her in person, there wouldn't be an attraction or chemistry?" That's a fair question, Hank. Um, I did meet her in person after Skyping a lot. I mean, probably I met her. Oh, we got married in what, 7 weeks and 5 days. So I probably met her around the 5 week mark. And we had Skyped a ton. And of course, you know, usually a Filipina's pictures in her profile will have some full body photographs, which I think is very fair. You don't see that a lot in American dating sites, but usually in the Philippines, I saw full length photos. Um, you know, and yes, men are interested in full length photos, so I knew what she looked like, and I also knew we tended to communicate better, like we are now, Skyping or webcamming. We had fewer miscommunications this way than when we were doing on Viber, like at break or before I left work. We'd send messages on Viber, and it got to the point one time where we had like a bad 2 weeks in a row, and I think we both mutually decided let's just stop using Viber because we kept misunderstanding each other. I would always think she was upset with me about something. Um, and then I'd get on her for that. And then it turned out she probably wasn't upset with me, but I just assumed she was because of that's just the way you know, that can happen. Emails, text messaging. So we spent more time on webcamming. Even to this day, there are times I might look at a text message at break and wonder if she's upset with me. Um, but we never had that problem when we were doing webcamming. So I knew what to expect. As far as physical attraction, I knew what she looked like. I had many Aiza photos, and I put them all over. I put them at work, and I have them on screenshots on my phone. I have them on computers at work. So physically, she was the person that I met. I didn't know she was as small as she was. I mean, I knew she was 4'11", about 92 pounds. Um, but I mean, I've never met her. Um, Really, I thought, boy, she's really small. But I like small women. It's one of the reasons I was attracted to Filipinas. So as far as chemistry, as far as getting along and interacting, um, some of that, I mean, has to be developed over time. But I wasn't scared. Going back to reading your comment, that there wouldn't be chemistry. We had enough attraction and chemistry for that amount of time knowing each other that I knew it would only get better. And um, and so it has. The more you're around somebody, you just you get used to them, and the chemistry builds as long as you're getting along well, and you both want to get along well. um, you know Whether that chemistry is going to last once she actually immigrates to you is another question. But initially, no, we were fresh off all of those webcams and looking at her picture, and you know, so then I run out there and meet her, and it was all very seamless. Meeting her in person, I've said this before, Hank. It felt like I had known her, like I had always known her. I mean, it's weird. Never felt nervous, never felt ashamed, never felt scared, nothing. In fact, it was all very, very, what's the word, anticlimactic. When I met her, when we were together, I wasn't like pinching myself. I was after I got back, but it just seemed so natural for whatever reason. And yes, of course, I was very excited. It was a surreal experience to be going there to be with her. But once I was with her and meeting her friends and family and the wedding preparations, and then the wedding and the honeymoon, and um, it was just we're just doing what we're doing now. Just we're together. We're a couple. Never felt, oh, it just felt normal, natural. No, I don't know how it could feel natural when I'd been alone for so long, but it did. That's all I know. It just felt natural. Um, so no, that went well. And parabiology says that worries me a little bit. Uh, so Hank, have you not met your Filipina girlfriend yet, or Parabiology 101? Because I know you were planning on going, then your back flared up. By now, have you gone, or are you rescheduled for March? And if you haven't gone, um, well, I mean, if you've Parabiology, if you've Skyped a lot, you should have some idea of how you know how you're getting along in that environment. And yes, being in each other's company is not quite the same thing. You go up another level in your relationship when you're together. And I suppose in the back of your mind you might think, well, things seem to be going really well on camera, but I wonder when I meet her in person, and I'm going to be there for usually 2 or 3 weeks, because you only get so much vacation. I wonder how that's going to go. Maybe it'll be a completely different situation. um, I don't know. It wasn't for me. I acted the exact same way I did with her, but then I was going to marry her no matter what. So I've made the statement, if Aiza had shown up in a wheelchair, it wouldn't have mattered. I know she wouldn't show up in a wheelchair, but because I saw her walking around and all that, I went there to marry her. I figured, what am I going to see that is going to shock me? I mean, what am I going to find out? I mean, I was going there to marry her no matter what, unless it was an absolutely disastrous meeting, which it wasn't. Like I said, very natural. It went well. We met people. We met our sponsors. We had to get a barong and get the right clothes, and buy everybody else's clothes, and all the planning for the wedding, and getting to meet her and the family, and eat with the family, and watch movies and stuff. And I remember holding her there, and like I like to do now, thinking it just feels right. Just being there felt a little unusual, but the way we interacted was fine. But if you go and you meet somebody there in person for the first time, and you sense something isn't right, who knows? Maybe you'll wonder if she's been seeing some other people. Maybe she'll have a different attitude. I mean, who knows? Maybe something changed in her life. I don't know. But for us, it was, you know, just like it is today. It just went pretty good, pretty good. But that's an excellent question. I never really even considered that when I went to meet her. Was she going to be different than I was expecting? I wasn't expecting her to be, and she wasn't. So let's get back up here to the questions. Uh, Abdi Hassan, where do you live in Philippines? How long? Now, I don't think any of us live in the Philippines, Abdi Hassan. I was in the Philippines. We just went back from 3 weeks of vacation. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you saw those videos from the Philippines, I'll put one up tomorrow, I think, tomorrow morning. I think the topic is something like, oh boy, maybe difference between uh, Western woman and a Filipina. I have very few videos left from the Philippines, maybe one, maybe three or so from Tokyo. And then I'll announce here my next topics here, since I am excited about doing that. But no, I've been there 4 times. I'd like to retire there. I think that's what my wife and I will do. Um, but I personally am not living there yet. I'm getting warming up to the idea. I think I can do it. I have a couple of concerns, um, but I think that's what we'll be doing. So no, we're not there in the Philippines. A little bit nervous, parabiology. What would, if you don't mind, what would you be nervous about? Um, I would just guess maybe that maybe you're thinking, well, we have a good chemistry here, but maybe when we're side by side, face to face, maybe something will happen where I don't know. I mean, I don't know what could go wrong if you're comfortable with each other webcamming and you've kind of reached the idea where you're both pretty interested in a relationship and you're interested enough to go all the way out there to see her. um, I guess I'd like to encourage you not to not to be nervous. I don't know um, what could go wrong really. um, I mean, I assume you've done your homework and you've spent ample time already communicating with her before you go out there. So Hank says, I already met my girl in person, spent 6 months together. We'll be going back soon. So, Hank, you're a younger guy. Did you tell your folks, or when did you tell your folks? I'm sure by 6 months you did, but did you tell them right away? Did you wait until um, you met her in person, or you were going to go see her already? Uh, what was the response? Those are the type of things I'm just kind of throwing out there. Uh, what your experience was, and parabiology, Michael and Heidi, was it positive? Did you get some kind of raised eyebrows? Do you really know what you're doing out there, son? But how did that go? Only video chatted so far. Um, well, hopefully you're not concerned that you'll show up and then she won't. I mean, yeah, I've read of that where, excuse me, the guy goes to Manila airport, can't find her. Or even one time the guy went to the airport, she saw him, and she disappeared and never met her. Um, yeah, I remember going to the airport, and half the women I saw looked like my wife. And then I forgot that I'm the one that looks different. So, I almost went up to a few of them and introduced myself. Ooh, that's not her, I don't think. And then she found me, and yeah, everything went well for us. But I'm happy for you, Parabiology 101, when you do meet her. Um, Hopefully, by that time, your nerves will disappear. Hank says, I use WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger with my girl, now mainly Messenger. And yeah, it's a lot different speaking verbally, better able to understand one another. Um, yeah, when you can see somebody, you can see their facial expressions, their body language, and you'd be surprised how much just a little movement or hesitation or facial expression, tells you whether they're confused, happy, excited, nervous. I don't know. Tone of voice is important. So that's why I say the faster you can get to webcamming and do it that way, the better off that I think you are. Michael Heidi says, guys, have some grace with your lady if you know she has a good heart, because some things said don't translate to from English well, and cultural things don't translate. Have had several experiences like this. Would you like to share some of those experiences, Michael and Heidi? I know the humor can be lost very easily if you you try to break the ice with some humor. Um, that might not go. Um, she might not understand your sense of humor. Aiza doesn't understand my sense of humor. She's thinks I have a weird sense of humor because I have a dry sense of humor. Parabiology says, waiting just a short while more to see what happens, yeah, with coronavirus. On the bright side, I'll be able to stay close to the full 30 days when I go. Good. And you really need 30 days. But then again, um, you're going, I was there 30 days, but then I was there to meet her and get married and have a honeymoon and come back. So, you know, hopefully it goes well. I mean, you don't want to go there necessarily and find out something isn't right early on, and then you got another 3 weeks to be there. But hopefully that's not how it goes, parabiology. I don't know what I'm nervous about. Maybe worried I won't be attractive enough to her in person. Um, I doubt that would be an issue because, you know, I don't think the Filipinos are very picky um, when it comes to looks. Um, in fact, that's a good time for me to introduce uh, the uploads I'm going to be making this week and putting them up as I make them. Parabiology. I'm going to have 4 videos. I'll start making them tomorrow, and that next one I upload or I make and upload will be called "I'm Too Sexy for This Video." I'm too sexy for this video. It will be about what women find attractive, and will be written by a woman about what women find attractive. Then I'm going to do another one called "It's Not Always About Looks: What Appeals Sexually to a Woman." And then one called "Are You Sexy? What Women Find Sexy About Men." And all those are written by women. And then another article there, "Some Tips to Be More Attractive to Women." That one was actually written by a guy. And so those are the videos I'm going to work on tomorrow. And so, we talk about being attractive. And I just said that I don't think Filipinos are that choosy or picky about the looks. And the way a person acts and behaves can be very attractive to a woman, not just a Filipina, but to any woman. And so I'm going to do some videos, some uploads about that. Yeah, but the coronavirus, I have in my mind, what if, I mean, Aiza was there 3 times last year, and that's 24 flights for her. And because we both went in December, January. I'm open to going back again this year. I don't know about her, but the coronavirus, I think we'll have to see. I just read today it's been like doubling, like what, every week or a few days. It could be even a much bigger deal by the time you're ready to go. So parabiology, are you able to change your flights without paying a whole lot of money if you had to? And Big Rob is here. Hi, Big Rob. Glad to have you here tonight. Talking about, and you can share your insights on this too, Big Rob. Topic is telling others you're dating a Filipina. Telling others you're dating a Filipina. Now, it's different than saying you're meeting somebody from your own country because, well, they might look at you and think you're crazy or something. But, how did you go about telling your friends, your parents, your siblings, coworkers? Did you tell everybody right away, hey, I've been online with this woman from the Philippines? I mean, were you, anticipating criticism? How did you deal with that? Just that whole experience, Big Rob, if you want to chime in with your own experience. Michael and Heidi says Chinese man died in Manila from the coronavirus. Well, that's hitting close to home. We were there, of course, to get there and then to come back. And even took a 12-hour layover in Tokyo. So Aiza was sick already when we were there and still when we got back. And I got sick when we got back. But, it seems like I've been sick for I don't know, it seems like I've had a cold for 2 months. and I had a cough for 14 months the last time I was in the Philippines. So I'll go to the doctor Thursday, talk about a few issues, and you know, hopefully I don't have anything like that. We probably got out of there just in the nick of time. But yeah, I think parabiology probably have little to be concerned about as far as her being attracted to you in person. Big Rob, my experience was like I believe when I see it kind of thing. Um, Many people tried to discourage me. Well, yeah, and that's understandable, but it's enough to make you feel like not even telling anybody. You're excited because you're doing something different out of the box, and then you're optimistic that this really might work, and so you want to share it to people. Did you decide to share the news with some people but not with others because you thought some would be critical, and maybe you shared it with the people that would be more supportive? We have such a small family here. I shared it with my mother, of course, and her sister, my aunt, and I think both my aunts here tonight, right now too. They're both upstairs, so all in the family, all in the Fil-Am here tonight. But I didn't get any. I didn't have a lot of people I shared it with, but for the most part, I think people didn't tell me anything. They just kind of kept it to themselves. And I think there were people that were intrigued, interested. Um, I know a couple of people when I got back from the Philippines after marrying Aiza that told me some, situations in their life where they kind of wish they had done the same thing, but they were a little bit afraid because I don't know, afraid what people would think, afraid how it would turn out. But they thought, yeah, I should have done that. I really thought about doing that one time. Now I kind of wish I would have. So so that kind of helps me want to have a channel where maybe I can help people, go look for a wife overseas if they're thinking that, nobody does that, or it never works out. I want to be a success story for other people. So yeah, that's too bad that they were trying to discourage you, but you did forge ahead, Big Rob, and now you've got your videos up in your channel. I saw your video on your proposal video. Big E and Cebu is in the house. You're at a convention in Florida as we speak. I am bummed out I can't catch your show. Hopefully it just started since I have 1.5 hours more. Well, by that time, I'm probably gonna have a sore throat, Big E, and you may have to catch the watch it some other time. Like when I don't know. I usually will, if I'm doing laundry or working on my own channel, I'll turn the phone on and get somebody's live stream going just to listen to it or peek in, or play it in the background on the computer. So but we were just talking about and you got a Filipina in your life. Do you tell people? Who did you tell? Were you afraid, reluctant to tell anybody? What was their response? Did they try to? Were they very discouraging? Were they encouraging? Were they kind of hands off and, well, we'll just kind of see how this goes? Or were they really unhappy and didn't even want to talk to you about that? Big Rob says, I kept it a secret for a while. Then people saw my social media page, and that's when it all got started. Yeah, and you shouldn't be ashamed of maybe that's too strong a word. Um, there's always going to be, I don't know, you just essentially, it's like the phrase, I live my life for an audience of one, which is God. So if your life is pleasing to God, you don't have to worry about, displeasing some other people. As I said before in my videos, I felt that biblically, a woman anywhere was fair game, interracial, different culture, age gap, whatever, as long as they were on this planet, and you know, you did your due diligence, as far as what matters, then They didn't have to be, from your nationality and in your own backyard, that sort of thing. And um, I shared it with people at work. Excuse me, people at work, and I'm sure they saw our pictures. They see them every day anyway, because I'm very proud of my wife. Um, but I don't know. Hopefully now we've been married long enough that um, all that's worn off, and all they can say is, well, in 5 years, it's not going to work out because statistically that's what happens. Well, whatever. The statistics don't determine the success or failure of my marriage. It's how I lead that marriage and how I respond to my wife, and how I take care of her, and so on and so forth. And that's what it's going to make it work or not. And Parabiology says pretty good. Just jumped up a bunch of comments there. Pretty good, Big Rob. How about you? Your video about the guy falling asleep at the Super Bowl was hilarious. Well, I didn't see that one. Hopefully he didn't pay too much money, for the ticket if he's going to fall asleep during the game. A $6,000 nap. Maybe he traveled all night or something to get to the big game, and then nodded off and missed it. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? Very expensive nap. Parabiology, Bob, I've had mixed reactions to telling people about my Filipina. Some good, some bad. And J Bud is here. Better check this out. Welcome, J Bud. Yeah, you can always say you're going to Philippines for a vacation. I know in my case, I think everybody would have known. Well, you've never left the country before. Why would you be going to the Philippines? And they knew I wanted to get married, so they would have put two and two together really fast. But essentially, you can't care too much about what people think, but you can't be rude about their comments. I mean, it's easy. That's what I meant by don't be too sensitive if they're negative. Just try to show them, show them why you're making a good decision, why you need to go to the Philippines, why going to the Philippines to look for a wife can be better than how things have gone for you so far. I don't know. I wouldn't get any arguments with anybody about it. Just say, well, hey, I'm trying something new. I met this woman there. Yeah, I know. I don't intend on getting scammed. If she asks for money, we'll move on. That's fine. I mean, I don't know. Certainly would not let it keep me from pursuing a woman from another country, just because I know there's a certain amount of people that think you're nuts by doing that. I told them in my case I was going to get married, and I can see where they probably wouldn't believe that because I just met her. But I wouldn't joke about a thing like that. So I was serious. J Bud says if you're seeking happiness and they aren't supporting you, then they're not your friends. Well, that's a good point, J Bud. Nevertheless, I suppose the closer the people are to you, i.e., your family, the more likely they are to speak their mind to you about what you're doing. And they should have an opportunity to voice their reservations and displeasure if they have that, but they shouldn't be ragging on you for that, over and over and over. I mean, you're an adult. You can always ask family and friends what they think. That way you give them the right to respond to you about situation. Just like you would about a woman from your own country. Hey, what do you think about her? It's not mixed with the negatives that somebody from another country would have. But you should be confident in yourself that, look, if I see something that doesn't look right, I'll move on. I'm not a fool, you know. Thank you for your advice. I think I'm going to be real cautious, but I want to expand my opportunities. I'm going to look overseas. And some people will pat you on the back and say, good luck, way to go. I know somebody that did that too, and they're happy. Other people are going to say, well, boy, you must really be desperate or something. And don't let it discourage you. Um, if you just think you've run out the string in your own country, do what other people are doing and at least explore your options in another country. But yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think your friends are going to, even if they're a little bit um, caught off guard by what you're doing, they would at least take a wait and see approach rather than just lashing into you with criticism. Parabiology says, J-Bud 5000, I'm happy about dating, marrying a Filipina. I'm trying to encourage other men to do so. My parents are okay with it, and no one else really matters. And I'm sure somewhere along the line, I've prepared a, a video about talking to your family about this in a little bit more depth. That is part of my video vault that I haven't taped yet. Um, but if you're, I mean, you're in a bit of a pickle if the people closest to you really think it's a bad idea. Then you really should probably give them a listen. Well, why do you feel this way? Maybe there's something about you that, if you're getting ganged up on, that there's a weakness there in you that they see that you don't, and maybe they've got a excuse me, a good point about something, and you should hear them out. But they should hear you out before they really um, get too deep with any criticism. And certainly they can ask questions. Well, what do you know about her? And have you talked about this, or what about that? And that's good. That those are good things. But if they're right away against it, then they might not be able to change your mind. But hopefully your parents, um, depending how old you are. I mean, I think it's important, whether you're younger, like you're in your 20s, or you're in your 50s. If your folks are still around, that they're okay with it, because you're going to be family. And I just don't see any point if your family is dead set against it, especially your parents. But that's something else we can talk about too. Does their opinion weigh more than other relatives? Let's say your brothers or your sisters. Some family members here in the States, we don't get together that often anyway, but um, I do think it's important that the family's okay. Big Rob says, I had someone say I might be getting catfished, and well, you've met her now, your fiance. Anything can happen, and it probably has. And that's just there are some more risks, of course, but once you've met in person, then things can really take off, or they can really go the other direction. Either way is good, because if it's not going to work out, you want to find out as soon as you can. And if it is going to work out, being there in person, just might seal the deal for that. Yeah, Big Rob, good for you. Prove that wrong. J Bud says they probably know nothing about the Philippines or Filipinos, so why bother even talking to them if they're just going to tell you you're crazy? And that may be the best thing to do, J Bud, depending on the person. I mean, if they don't seem like they're willing to hear you out and why you are doing it, well, I thought about this and here's why. If they're not really interested in hearing what you have to say, then probably you shouldn't waste your time talking to them. Hopefully, if it's a family or a friend, they'll be genuinely interested, and say things like, well, tell me more about this, and how did you meet her? What do you like about her? You plan on meeting her soon. What does she do? What does she like? Have you, what does she told you about her parents? Um, questions like that are good because then, they're at least open to the possibility and they put you at ease and you just maybe want to leave the critics alone that don't even want to, you know, give you a chance that you might be doing the right thing. Parabiology, I was told that she's just using me for my money or for a green card. Well, I wonder how they would know that since you're the one that's been doing the talking to her. Um, Pretty bold statement saying, well, hey, I can tell you right now they are using it. Well, they can say they might be because they've heard that happen to other people. That doesn't mean that that you are. Thank you for the thumbs up. Princess Sarita here in Dumaguete, it's no problem, but if you bring one of us hot young honeys back to your country, you'll get a lot of dirty looks. And Princess Sarita, I am told you are um, a disgruntled man who was unfortunately used by, had a bad experience with a Filipina. So just be careful what you say here tonight. I kind of leave the moderation up to Michael and Heidi here tonight. Um, but yeah, as far as getting a lot of dirty looks, well, of course, because it's different. And once they see you here together, then people that know nothing about you, nothing about your past, nothing about the relationship, of course, that's a whole different deal. And I have done videos about that where they will really judge you um, for what they see. And that's just part of it. I mean, if you can't handle that, if you're going to be thin skinned, then learn right now. So try not to be defensive, try not to be sensitive to what people say or the looks you get. Um, you have to do what you have to do, and you don't want to flaunt that you're with a beautiful young woman either. Just focus on being her husband and she's your wife, and let people get used to it. Yeah, why not just show off your young hottie and laugh at their dirty looks? Yeah, of course, Princess Sarita, the age gap, they noticed that right away. And, well, I guess you can just show them that this does work out. I know other Fil-Am couples and age gap relationships. I've never heard that the age gap was an issue. I've never seen it be an issue. It doesn't have to be an issue, of course. It's kind of very unusual here in the United States, where only about 1% of the population, um, the people that are married, are in a 20 plus year age gap. So yeah, 20 years or more, very, very rare. And you get the looks and the curiosity, but uh, Jay Bud got some truth there. Just just laugh at them. I wouldn't get upset and pick a fight or something. Uh, it's enough just having them see you together. That should be enough satisfaction for you. Parabiology 101. I red pilled my mom and helped convince her about dating a Filipina being a good idea. So you kind of gave her some lessons on the truth of dating somebody here in the U.S. Parabiology. Um, but I mean, you can complain and complain about how things are here, or you can at least consider somebody from another country. And like some of us here tonight have already done. Jay Bud says, let them look. So what? Get what you want. Let the people who disapprove watch you walk around with a smile. Jay Bud's usually got some excellent advice, and no exception there. The best thing you can do is just act normal, go on your way, do your own thing, look happy. let them get green with envy. You know, they can speculate all you want. It's not going to change your future one bit. But the reason I caution getting, sparring with somebody verbally or getting defensive about it, because then it makes it look like maybe you're not too sure about it yourself. And so that's not the impression that you want to give to anyone else. So I agree with you, Jay Bud, very much. Princess Sarita, true. I've heard from my guys it gets under the skin after a while. Well, maybe I guess if it's your coworkers and it's people you can't get away from, that you might be hearing it a lot. Um, but hopefully that wears off in time. And I mean, if you're bragging about her all the time, I suppose that just kind of keeps her front and center. And maybe you want to be careful with the bragging about her, as well. But at some point, look, I mean, if that's what you want, that's what you're trying to accomplish, then you just be glad if you're able to, and know that some people will be jealous, some people will be critical, and some people will be happy. excuse me, will be happy for you, and that's just how it goes. Aaron Taylor, again, mentioning for the second time about the thumbs down. I can't see the thumbs down, Aaron. Hank mentioned that earlier. So I see 5 thumbs up. I assume there must be about 4 or 5 thumbs down. That just means some people are here tonight because they have heard about the channel. I don't know why necessarily. I would like to know. I made a comment earlier, when you get thumbs down, you really don't know what it is. Now, if it's a bundle of thumbs down, then it's usually thanks for the thumbs up. If it's a group of thumbs down, then it's probably a gang drive-by shooting type of thing, where they're just coming to do I don't know what. I'm more interested in their comments and their reasons. What does the thumb down mean? It could mean a dozen different things. So I don't know. Urban 9. Yeah, that's not Princess Sarita. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Urban 9. I was told that earlier by someone. So as long as they behave, they're welcome here. But no, Princess Sarita is not a princess. So I don't know. Anybody giving me a thumbs down, you can always tell me what you disapprove of. Um, Maybe make it interesting tonight, and I can respond to that. Princess Rita, why do you people always say that? I have lots of X's here. I'm just adding spice to the conversations. Nothing wrong with spice. Aaron Taylor, our age gap 17 years, and we have gotten 0 dirty looks about 3.5 years in the United States. And you're in Arizona. Correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron. Yeah, I mean, normally you would. Um, I haven't noticed any dirty looks either. Our age gap is like 27, but I'm not. I don't have eyes in the back of my head, and I don't care. I don't pay attention to what anyone else is doing anyway. Um, as far as what they're thinking. Yeah, Urban 9 says, Aaron, I don't know your age or your wife. People you ask for passive aggressive and are more likely to give you looks behind your back than smile to your face. Well, I guess if they don't come up and tell you what they're thinking or why, then you just never know. Just kind of renders them invisible. Yeah, parabiology. I'm looking forward to laughing if someone gives me dirty looks. Well, they judge your motives, but um, so what? It really doesn't matter. Aaron says, I'm 51 and she's 34. Oh, Aaron, I'm sorry, you live in Michigan. Wonder who I'm mistaking you for. I know Phil Phoenix is in Phoenix, but I think another one here is in Arizona. Michigan, much like Nebraska, I think. Yeah, urban 9. It's not too big of a gap as far as looks. Things are 24. They may give you looks. And I've done, if you guys don't know, I've probably done 4 or 5 videos on age gap. I think the playlist might be called Younger Wife, but avail yourself of those videos. I have talked about that in some videos, and of course mentioned it throughout videos and live streams too. Yeah, if the Jay, but if the advice givers don't pay your bills, let them take a hike. Yeah, Dumaguete, big college town, right, Princess Rita? So a lot of people go there, guys, foreigners go there for to find a younger woman. Dirty looks equal jealousy, Parabiology 101. Well, probably so. Probably so, just jealous. Yeah, Urban 9 depends on how old you look for your age and how she looks too. Um, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, much too cold. I don't like wearing a coat. I didn't wear a coat this morning, and I paid for it. Yeah, and Urban 9, it's right. Also depends where you are in the United States. Different attitudes. I'm here in the Midwest, and we're pretty conservative. But people I've met, um, coworkers, they like Aiza. I mean, they liked me before. I think they know that I wouldn't go out and make a stupid choice in somebody to marry. So the people I'm closest to at work are, they like her, they like us, and these are women I've worked with. They like Aiza because she's quality, she's classy, and they like her, and they know I made a good choice, and so I'm very proud of her. But I can see in a place like this where maybe it would be frowned on, and maybe some people do, but I can't concern myself with that. So you guys just keep your eyes open this week when I put these other videos together. I'm too sexy for this video. What women find attractive. It's not always about looks. What happens or what appeals sexually to a woman. Are you sexy? What women find sexy about men, and some tips to be more attractive to women. So look forward to those, unless you are not interested in being attractive to women, any woman, including a Filipina. Those are things I'm going to talk about here this week when I put up some new new videos. I'll tell you what, I can sense this cough being another long one. 14 months, my last one was, before it went away. Parabiology girls get mad because they either A, no longer have their youth and or beauty, or B, are worried it will give their partners ideas to find someone else, or they are racist. So that about covers it. Um, but you can't. You're not responsible for what other people do or see. And I was just out there trying to do something different to find a wife. I hadn't like toyed with the idea for a long time, and then said, okay, I'm going to do it. It was a spur of the moment type of thing, because I was just wanted to keep looking and do something that might work. And I thought, well, it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm kind of running out of opportunities. So I did, and now we have a YouTube channel. Is tell them Western women totally suck, and you went to the Philippines for a baby doll and walk away. They were mad anyway. Yeah, whatever. They're going to think what they're going to think. No money, no honey, and there's certainly truth to that. Princess Sarita, a woman is going to marry to try to give herself a better opportunity. And it doesn't mean she has to, you know, have 20 times the standard of living or something like that. It just boils down to security, however that is defined. Now, some women want to live in the lap of luxury. I don't think, however, that's the goal of most Filipinas. Yeah, Bama got plenty of girls with no money. Well, um, I guess there's always exceptions, and I do think though that the Filipina should, if she's going to marry somebody, she needs to think long term, and she wants to find somebody that can provide for her. But yeah, I do know who you're talking about. Do I plan on retiring in the Philippines, Princess Sarita? I do. My wife and I were just there. My fourth time there. We just got back like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So we have a house there, and we stayed there, and that gave me a good feel for what it would be like, on a short-term basis. But yeah, I mean, there's a difference between 10 years when you're 62, 72 years old, and when you're 58 and still working and just there on vacation. But at some point, you have to decide. And I don't want to go kicking and screaming. I want to go and say, well, here's what I am just going to have to accept, you know, and not go if there's something I just feel that strongly about. But I think, I think I'll be okay. Pretty much for me, it's just like most Westerners medically. What happens if something goes very, very wrong with my health? You feel safer here in the United States, and that's the concern. But yeah, Princess Sarita, we do plan on retiring there. In fact, one of the last uploads I did was on cost of living, monthly expenses, and so I think, yeah, that's usually a good reason to try to retire somewhere like the Philippines. I think when you have a Filipina, you've got the best thing going for you there. But the heat, the roosters, the dog, excuse me, the dogs, the music. I hope I didn't get this cough there. And now that I mentioned that, the exhaust, yeah, I think we'll be wearing masks next time we're there, just to be safe. But yeah, we plan on retiring there. I can hardly imagine, I believe I'm saying that, but I think my wife would be happier there. That's where everybody is. And friendly people. And I'd like to think that I could go there. Maybe this will be a video one of these days, and kind of, I don't know, reinvent myself in retirement. I want to go to the Philippines and kind of maybe start over in a way. I want it to enhance my life, not just go there because my wife is from there. I want to go and have it be, a positive step forward for me too. Says Styles doesn't have a lot of money, gets lots of girls too. Yeah, but we're here at Love Beyond the Sea. We're a serious channel, where we're here about marrying a Filipina. Phil's Phoenix is here tonight. You can see he also has a wrench. Hey, John, how many thumbs down do I have tonight? Can you see that? Because I can't. I can't. So apparently we're getting some thumbs down. That doesn't mean that they disapprove. It just means they've given me a thumbs down. What I'm curious about is why exactly. Could be just the opposite. they might actually be their way of saying they like what I'm saying. I don't know. J Bud, Princess Aaron, Urban, all these stereotypes. Come on, be real. There is someone out there for everyone. There's a lot of women out there in the world, and there are men finding wives in all kinds of countries. The Philippines is just where I met my wife, and you want to make sure that that they can speak English. My wife's English is very good. That's obviously as important as communication is. Um, that's something that should be there, I would think. So I don't know why there wouldn't be somebody out there for everyone. I know that sounds like a cliche, but there are a lot of women out there, and there are a lot of women out there in countries that are very open to a foreigner. So why not, you know, consider that? Jay Budd, I know it sounds like a cliche, but there was someone for me, and we met like really fast. Um, I guess I just had to wait long enough so I could meet that particular person in that particular place in that particular way, and the rest is history. Princess says, try it for a year first. Don't sell out at home. Yeah, paradise wears off after a while, guys say. Um, Thing is, though, as I'm married, I know my wife will want to stay there, and I want to be ready and capable of staying there. The home thing, that's a good idea because a lot of guys, uh, especially if they're not 100% sure, will stay in their country for 6 months. They could. One of my subscribers is thinking about doing that and going to the Philippines for 6 months or some other amount of time. So that's an option. Selling your place, getting a smaller place, putting some belongings in it, so you have a place to go to, and then just not make it a full time deal. And that's an option. It's a possibility. It's becoming a smaller possibility as time goes on. And I'm considering being there full time with my wife. But we'll see. We got 4 years or so. We can still. Thanks for the thumbs up. And we can still think about it. And but right now, that's kind of our thought. But yeah, and it's not all paradise. No place is beautiful place, but there are things, as I did in some of my live streams from the Philippines, about what I need to, how I need to change my thinking, what I'm going to have to get used to if I'm going to be retiring in the Philippines. I thought about that, Princess Sarita. I should wear a mask tonight because this cough is so bad. I don't want to give anybody the flu. I can assure you, pretty much 99.9%, I do not have the novel coronavirus, but I probably should wear a mask. But then it would make it hard to drink my coffee, and you might not hear me as well. So we'll have to see about that. The biggest mistake a Westerner can make is move to the Philippines, okay, and live worse than he did in the West. Urban 9. That is true. However, I mean, if you're used to, if you can't afford to live on, you know, some people take their standard of living here and they want to do that over there, and it can end up being actually more expensive. Um, you just want to live within your means. In our case, we'll have a house paid off, so we don't. That makes it a lot easier to live on Social Security. Um, Even if you did live, quote, worse than you did in the United States, in other words, well, even at that, what does that mean? To some people, living worse uh, to others would mean a very minimalistic lifestyle, but to that other person, that might be a step up, and they might be living better without a lot of stuff. They might be taking a step down from where they were in the West and they might consider it really a good idea. So whatever they do, they have to be comfortable with their new arrangement. I've been there 4 times. We'll probably be there again a time or two before we retire. And I think I can. I think I can. I think I can be happy. Biggest thing is I'm there with my wife. But when you've lived in one country for about 60 years, kind of where you plan on staying till the day you die. But I don't know that that's gonna. I think we'll be in the Philippines. Yeah, Urban says so many guys move to the Philippines, live in a Baha'i Kubo with no aircon and eat sardines thinking it's paradise. Well, maybe it will be, but it sounds like that could wear off pretty quick. Then they should have some idea of what their money can get, um, before they are there. But, like anything, there's lots of uh, Philippines vloggers with channels on what to expect and what the culture is like and cost of living and all that. So no shortage of videos for that sort of thing. My title provokes some trolls. Telling others you're dating a Filipina. I don't know why that's so provocative. The thing is, you can only put so many words in a title. You can't really put a paragraph in there. So maybe they're thinking something I'm not. What I'm trying to elaborate on is, you know, are you reluctant to tell people you're moving away from dating somebody in your own country to somebody in another country? Are you worried about what they say? Are you worried about what certain family members say? Could it be a deal breaker if certain friends and family members think you're nuts? Or maybe some of you can say you were very surprised by the support that you got. Trying to catch up here. Uh, Being honest and trying not to sugarcoat things. Hank says, and that's true, Urban, about having a better life in the Philippines. Don't move there and lower your standards. Um, Unless you're intentionally doing that and you're totally comfortable and okay with it. But you don't want to like lower your standards thinking it's going to be one thing and then finding out, oh boy, this was a mistake. You want to be pretty sure before you make such a big move like that, which is why I've been, thinking about it so much. Parabiology 101, everything you say applies to all women equally across the earth to a large extent, but there are, as here, there is also more to it than that. Different culture there in the Philippines, but women are women are women. But I do think a Filipina can afford a guy a better opportunity than some women in other countries. I think that's more fair. It's one of the titles of a video I'll do one of these days. It's more fair in the Philippines. Speaking about, it's just more fair, a level playing field for a guy going to look overseas in the Philippines. Parabiology, all women want a man that will stay with them and protect and pay for them and offspring. It's natural. They do. Universal type of thing. I know, Princess Sarita, you're joking. Um, but I was thinking about wearing a mask. I honestly, just for effect, but I didn't have one here, and I didn't want to steal one from work. So, um, but yeah, I understand your humor. Parabiology 101. I'm still happy. I'm interested in dating a married Filipino and happy to spread the word into other men. The entitled, lazy, selfish, greedy Western women with feminism and hypergamy. Well, yeah, that's enough to drive you to think about doing things you've never done before. Yeah, I'm glad you're settled now, Phil's to Phoenix. 6 or 7 thumbs down. That's going to be a record. The problem is, though, if nobody's going to convince me what the thumbs down are for. Maybe it's a statement in general that they just don't like the channel, and that's certainly all right. It's not going to make me angry or anything. Um, I think it's a pretty drama-free channel. I do say things that probably you're not used to hearing, but who wants to hear people say the same things that everybody else says? I'm just going to speak from my heart and my experience, and want to help other people to find a wife, just like parabiology was saying. I think marriage is the best thing in the world, and obviously, if you're with the wrong person, it can be a living hell. But with the right person, I think it's the very best. And so, you know, there's it takes hard work, it takes effort, it takes patience, it takes tolerance, it takes forgiveness, it takes unselfishness, but that's what it takes. Just like nothing worth having comes easily. I know you've heard that before. What makes guys, Princess Sarita, what makes guys crazy here is the number one, driving, number two, power grid, number three, bad internet, four, bad water system, five, bad quality stuff. They say over 75% go back home before 5 years is done. And I can see everything you're saying there can be true. No question about it. My wife drives very well in the Philippines. The first time she drove there was this year, I think in October, and she drove us all around um, when we were there in December and January in the dark in places she's never been before. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to drive when there because she can. She's completely competent driving in all conditions, traffic and otherwise. She can. Of course, she's driven here for 3.5 years, and I know it's a whole different ball game in the Philippines. But you know, that's where she grew up, so she kind of has a sixth sense about how you have to drive. You have to drive differently in the Philippines. Um, you have to be offensive and defensive at the same time, a very heightened sense of awareness. People cross the streets in the dark without reflectors and maybe don't even look, it seems, and assume that people are going to stop. I just think it could be better lit in some of those streets. But yeah, everything you're saying there is an issue for somebody that's not used to that. Maybe we can hit 10 thumbs down. If we've got six or seven thumbs up or thumbs down already, maybe we can hit 10. And then we can have another high water mark, 50,000 views, and then 10 thumbs down. I don't want to be here all night just to get those 10 thumbs down, but um, that is intriguing. Hopefully, hopefully, whoever is trolling is going to get something out of this channel, because I wouldn't do it if I didn't think people could learn something from it. Uh, Stay on topic. It's about telling others about your relationship. Yeah, that's what we want to talk about, but we can interject other things too. Sometimes having a topic, turns people off, and if they're not interested in that particular topic, they don't contribute. And anybody here, again, if you're in a relationship with a Filipina, the main topic to get people talking was about telling others you're dating a Filipina, revealing it. Maybe I can, if that helps, uh, letting people know you're doing something way out of the box. How did you go about that? What was the response? I know some people's family very skeptical, make them feel terrible about it. And if you're going to do something, you need to be prepared for that and to make sure you're making the best decision that you can. Some people make a lot of mistakes. Learn from other people's mistakes too. Don't let their mistakes go to waste. Let's see. Mimi is here. Greetings from Pathalong, Thailand. Thanks for being here, Mimi. I think you may have been here last time for the first time, um, talking about, the usual stuff, foreigners and Filipinas, and especially dating a Filipina for the first time, and how do you kind of let people know you're doing that? Are you afraid to do that? Did you have a bad experience and wish you hadn't done that? Are you thinking now, well, if I ever decide to do what Bob's asking me to do, I think I'll keep it on the down low until I know it's working. Then nobody can criticize me for it because it's already working. So, and that's fair. It's all new ground for most of us. At some point, doing this is new and it's fresh and it's a little bit scary, and you advance in stages like we talked about earlier. Okay, things are going well, or are going okay in chatting and webcamming, but eventually, of course, I got to meet her in person. Now I'm kind of afraid how that's going to go. Is it going to be different? Will I rub her the wrong way? Will I not be attracted? Will the chemistry be different when we're there together? Will be not be having things to talk about? Um, she won't get my sense of humor, or something won't go right. I never thought about those things when we were dating and even got together for the very first time. Yeah, Princess, a lot of surprises can happen when you go there for the first time. That's why you got to go there for the first time and see if this person is real, if they're the same, if they have the same attitude that they had when you were talking to them online. So, you know, uh, I'm happy. Like I said, I was thinking about coming up on 50th year anniversary in May. I'll have to do another anniversary video like I have so far. And I remember doing like the second-year anniversary, and we went to Paris, second-year anniversary, and man, already we got coming up on 5 years. It's crazy. It's crazy. So for those of you guys worried about the length of time, and then the visa process, and man, that's going to drag on forever. You know how fast life goes. I mean, if you keep talking to her as you're doing your visa, that's going to go by really fast too. It's just incredible. Things can happen. It's a wonderful world of dating online, and meeting somebody from the other side of the world. Um, Not everybody is going to have, some are going to have to work harder than others. And I don't know. It's gone well for us. I wish it would go well for everybody. And I'm just here to help and to encourage and to talk to people back and forth here on the live streams, and make, umpteen videos about all kinds of things that you probably should know one time or another. This channel is not so much about my life and my wife's life. Um, Mostly, just trying to teach and share what's worked for me, and be very straightforward about that. Gotta visit. Good luck scuba diving, Princess Sarita. Keep safe. Some of these lady boys, though, I mean, looks, you can't tell the difference. Some of them you just can't. Voice, however, should be a different story. But it's amazing. Um, you really, some of the lady boys look like women. You just can't tell. You'd need some other telltale sign rather than their appearance. So it's been already. See how fast time flies. It's been an hour and 44. I don't know that we're going to get um, now. We're going to get 10 thumbs down. Maybe next time. Um, Next time live stream, probably talk about some of these um, videos I want to do here in the next week or so about what women find attractive from women. And I think that's an interesting topic because, I think a lot of guys could disagree with some of those things or say, yeah, but I do that and they're not attracted to me, or yeah, but. So we'll get into that next week when I start putting those uploads together. Dumageddon getting overrun with tourists. That's what I've heard about Dumageddon. Too many people going there. It'll be like Yogi Berra said. That place is so busy these days, nobody goes there anymore. Sounds like that could be Dumageddon in the future. So, everybody, we're already, what happened to January? January disappeared. It's already February. Parabiology, good luck on your upcoming trip to the Philippines and meeting your Filipina girlfriend. And hopefully your back's going to be all right and you can survive the long flights and have good things to say about your trip. And I appreciate everybody being here and giving me your input on this topic. The thumbs down are fine too. I don't really consider this channel a troll magnet, at least not yet. You never know. Parabiology says if you spend a couple hours of video talking to them, you shouldn't have known. There are always tells, and you really ought to ask if there's any hesitation. No, that's true. Or say, do you think lady boys are immoral? Watch their reactions. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to go 9,000 miles away or something like that and find out um, you've fallen in love with a lady boy when that wasn't your intention. So thanks for your time tonight, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. Everybody was well behaved as far as I know for having so many thumbs down from the trolls. I suppose that's a good thing. So we'll let you know the newsletter. You can sign up for a newsletter and I'll send it to you via email about the next live, when I'm sure the next live stream will be coming and what the title is, the topic. And we'll also have some statistics from the channel, as well as a classic video and the last video. It's all in the email. You can sign up for the newsletter. Link will be in the description box. And Parabiology 101, thank you for being here along with everybody else. And thanks for sharing some of your evening with me tonight. And until next time, take care. This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea.